Okay, so we found the slope. We found the slope. Now we need to find the y-intercept. So what do I want to plug in for y? Which one would you use for y, you guys? Would you use, which point do you want to use? Do you want to use -3, -1, or do you want to use -6, 0? Why would you pick -6, 0? I would pick that as well because you have a 0 in there. So I'm going to replace y with 0. I'm going to replace m with -1/3. You guys, that negative can either stay with the down the bottom or up the top. It doesn't matter where you put it. And then my x is -6, and I'm looking for b. Okay, so 0 equals, well, what is -1/3 of -6? It is +2 because 1/3 of 6 is 2. Negative times the negative is a positive plus b. Then we're going to subtract we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So b equals -2. So our equation of this line is,
You can't see it.
oh, it doesn't bother me. I mean, there are other ways that you could say you can't see something, but
How would you like us to say it?
we'll talk about that after I'm done with the video. Okay, so this equation would be y equals -1/3 x minus 2. Okay? So now we have 3 equations, right? We have y equals 3x, y equals 2, and we have y equals -1/3 x minus 2. Now what we need to do is we need to write this thing like we did for, like it was written for us in number 1, okay? So instead of writing y, we're going to write that it's a function, so we're going to write f of x. We're going to write equals, and then we're going to, since we have 3, we're going to have to do 3 lines. I did 4 lines, so I don't know why. Okay, so the first equation we have is 3x, so we're going to write 3x. The second equation we have is 2, so we're going to write 2. And the last equation we have is -1/3 x minus 2. So we write f of x in the 3 equations. Now we have to write if on all of them. If. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with x. These are going to be x. We'll talk about this second one because that one's kind of different. So x. So where does it start for the line that was in orange? Where does it start? What's x? X is what? So this point right here was 1, 3, so x would be 1. That's where is it going to be greater than or equal to? Is it going to be greater than? Is it going to be less than, equal to, or less than? We wanted all the x's to be what? Do we want them to be positive, or do we want them to be greater than 1 or less than 1? For this line right here, we're going up. So do we want our x's are going to be towards this way. So do we want them to be positive or negative? Positive, so they want them greater than 1. And does it include 1 or exclude 1? It includes because it's a closed dot. So the first thing we did was find the equation of the line, and then we talked about where does it start. So basically, do we want those x values to be greater or less than that starting point? Okay, we're gonna go to this last line, this line that we did in green. So what is our x value? What's the first x value we have? -3, 1. So we're going to start with -3. We don't worry about the y's. We're only worried about the x values. And now, do we want the x values to be greater than -3 or less than -3? So they're going up, and they are going up. Our y's are increasing, but our x's are decreasing, so we want it to be less than. And does it include -3 or exclude? It includes because it's a closed dot. So, again, we look at the closed dot, open dot. That's how we got the less than, equal to, greater than or equal to. And we're looking at only the x values, those domains. Are they increasing or are they decreasing? Now, number 2. Number 2 is a horizontal line. And number 2 is very specific between 2 points. What piece of the line do we have? We have the piece that is where x is between -3 and between +1. So remember, what piece of the line do you have? Okay, so again, you guys, we're finding the reason they're called piecewise function is because we're taking pieces of the line. So what piece of the line do we have of y equals 3x? We have the piece where x is greater than or equal to 1. What piece of y equals 2 do we have? We have the piece that's between -3 and +1, and it doesn't include them. -3 and 1 is not a solution. Then we have the piece of the line that we have for -1/3 x minus 2 is the piece where x is less than or -3. How you guys doing about that? Pieces, right?
Sideways thumb.
Okay. So we're going to, if you have your workbook, take it out. If you don't have your workbook, then, well, you can at least follow along with us, okay? Is this my workbook? Oh, I don't think this is workbook. Page 23. If you don't have it, at least try to follow along. At home, people, this is page 23. We're doing number 1 on page 23. We're going to graph these pieces of the function, okay? Anytime you see just a number, that means the equation is y equals -1. Anytime it's just a y equals. Anytime you have a number, it's just a y equals. This one right here is y equals 2x. And then this one is y equals 6. Y equals -1 and y equals 6 are both going to be horizontal lines. What we have to decide is if it's going to be an open or closed circle and which direction we're going to graph the line, okay? This one right here, this is going to be a normal line. M will be 2, and what is our y-intercept for this line? 0, 0. You guys, please remember that a y-intercept is always an ordered pair. So why don't we graph the y equals 2x, m equals 2, that one. Why don't we graph that one? So it's 0, 0. And it's only going to be a piece of it. We're going from 0 to +3. So 0, is that going to be an open circle or a closed circle on 0? Open. So we're going to put an open circle. And then we're going to go up to up to 1, 2 over 1. That's 2, 1. And then we're going to go up to over 1. And we're going to put a closed circle. Why did I put a closed circle? Because it's less than or equal to 3. That's that line. I'm going to do this line in pink. I'll do this line in orange. So again, it had an open circle because x did not include 0. And then x is greater than or 3, less than 3. So I went up to 3. I put a dot. It's a closed dot because it includes. So that's the piece of the line that we have. Now we have y equals -1. That means we're going to go down to -1. And it says x is less than or equal to 0. So am I going to put a closed dot on 0 or an open dot? I'm going to put a closed because it says equal to, so it's closed. Now, which direction am I going to go? Am I going to go towards the left, towards the negative numbers, or to the right, towards the positive numbers? So see where it says x is less than 0? I'm going this way. And because it doesn't have numbers on each side, I can put an arrow. Y equals 6. I'm going to go up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm not going to start on 6. Where am I going to? I'm not going to put a point on 0. Where am I going to put the point at? See where it says 3? So I'm going to go over to 6, 3. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put an open circle. Again, because it doesn't have a line. And I want all numbers greater. So it's going to go that way. Yes, I went up 5, you guys, instead of 6. I thought I counted 6. So up 6 over 3. And again, you guys, I'm going this way because I only want numbers that are greater than 3. Okay.